In a world where appearances can be deceiving and judgment can be cruel, one young woman's life was forever changed by the harsh words of those who claimed to love her. Abandoned, ashamed, and alone, Alina's future seemed as bleak as the streets she wandered. But little did she know, fate had other plans that would lead her to a stranger who wore tattered clothes but hid a heart of gold, and a secret that would alter her destiny forever. Alina never remembered the warmth of a mother's hug. Her mother had died when she was barely 5, and her father remarried quickly. From that day, her life had been a slow-burning torment. Mrs. Ola, her stepmother, treated her like a burden, not a daughter. The woman's cold words cut deeper than knives. "Clean the house, Alina. You eat too much for someone who does nothing." Alina would stay quiet, wiping away tears when no one watched. Her father had passed years ago, and she had been left with only her stepmother's cruelty. At 18, she thought life could get no worse. But it did. One rainy evening, Alina sat in her small room, staring at a test strip in her trembling hands. Positive. The world blurred. She was carrying a child, a secret she prayed to hide. But secrets had a way of exposing itself. And when her stepmother discovered it, the punishment was harsher than anything Alina had ever imagined. The test fell from her trembling hands, but Mrs. Ola had already seen it. Her eyes widened with fury before narrowing in disgust. "You filthy girl," she shouted, slapping Alina so hard her lip bled. "Pregnant? And no husband? You will not disgrace me in this house." Alina's knees weakened. "Please. I'll work, I'll raise the baby." "Shut up," Mrs. Ola snapped. "If anyone finds out, they'll laugh at me. You're nothing but a mistake I was forced to raise. But now, you'll fix this." The next morning, Mrs. Ola dragged her to the streets, eyes scanning until they fell on a ragged man leaning against a wall. His beard was unkempt, his clothes patched, and his shoes falling apart. People crossed the road to avoid him. "That one," she said coldly. "You'll marry him. If you're going to have a bastard child, then your husband should match, trash for trash." Alina's heart shattered. She was to be bound to a stranger the world despised. The church was nearly empty. A few curious neighbors came only to whisper and point. Alina wore a borrowed dress, slightly torn at the hem, her hands shaking as she stood before the officiant. The groom, Daniel, walked forward slowly. His clothes were worn out, but his posture was strangely steady. His eyes locked on hers as they exchanged wedding vows. "I do," he said simply. Alina whispered her vow, her voice breaking. When the officiant declared them husband and wife, her stepmother smiled in satisfaction. To her, the punishment was complete. As they left, laughter followed. A homeless man? She must be desperate. Alina lowered her head, wishing the ground would swallow her whole. There was no car waiting outside. Mrs. Ola hissed, "Walk home." That's what beggars do. So they walked. Alina's heart pounded as strangers looked at them. Some mocked, others pitied. Daniel walked beside her silently, carrying nothing but a worn jacket. "You don't need to fear me," he finally said, voice soft. "I don't fear you," she muttered bitterly. "I'm ashamed." He didn't flinch. Shame doesn't last forever. Sometimes, it hides blessings. His words angered her more than they comforted. That night, he led her to an abandoned shelter he called home. "Is this where you stay?" Alina asked as they both walked inside. Alina cried herself to sleep, unaware her life was about to turn in ways she couldn't imagine. The first week was unbearable. Alina, who had grown used to at least a roof over her head, now shared a broken mattress with Daniel in a shelter filled with dust and rats. She worked odd cleaning jobs during the day, her belly already showing normal signs of her pregnancy. At night, Daniel offered her the little food he could find, often going hungry himself. "Eat," he'd say gently, sliding a piece of bread towards her. "What about you?" "I'm not carrying life inside me," he replied with a faint smile. His kindness confused her. She had expected cruelty or indifference. Instead, he treated her with respect. Yet she couldn't bring herself to trust him. Not yet. One night, as the rain poured heavily, Alina woke to hear Daniel speaking softly into a small, old phone. His voice was low, he was murmuring. "Yes, not yet, she isn't ready," he whispered. She frowned. Who was he talking to? Why did his voice sound so different, confident, commanding? When he noticed her looking at him, he quickly ended the call and put the phone into his pocket. "Who was that?" she asked. "No one," he said simply, lying back down. Then she started being very suspicious of him. He wasn't just a homeless man. There was something more. But she had no idea how deep the secret went. Weeks later, Mrs. Ola spotted them on the street. She was dressed in pearls, walking arm in arm with a wealthy family friend. Her laughter turned sharp when she saw Alina. "Well, look at you," she sneered. "Begging suits you. And your husband," she scoffed at Daniel's ragged clothes, "you make quite the pair." Alina felt really embarrassed, but Daniel only bowed his head. "Good evening, ma'am." Mrs. Ola smirked. "Don't expect me to ever acknowledge you again. You're dead to me." The words cut deep. Alina broke down later that night. "Why are you so calm when they humiliate us?" Daniel looked at her gently. "Because their laughter won't matter when the truth comes out." She stared at him, confused. "What truth?" "You are hiding something from me," she said, but Daniel gave her no reply. One afternoon, while Alina was cleaning tables at a cafe, a well-dressed man entered. His eyes went straight to Daniel, who sat outside waiting for her. A flicker of recognition crossed his face. He walked up to Daniel, lowering his voice. "Sir, is it time?" Daniel's jaw tightened. "Not yet." Alina overheard him calling Daniel sir. She said to herself, "Time for what?" She was unsure of what was going on. The man quickly left, leaving her with more questions than answers. She demanded an explanation, but Daniel only said, "One day, Alina. One day you'll understand." Her frustration boiled, but deep inside, she sensed something big was hiding behind his quiet patience. As weeks passed, Alina found herself being nice towards him. He wasn't the monster her stepmother said he was. He shared what little he had, never raised his voice, and always treated her with dignity. One evening, as they sat watching the city lights from a rooftop, he whispered, "Do you regret marrying me?" Alina looked at him and smiled. "Why do you ask?" And he said, "I just want to know. I regret the way it happened. But not you," Alina said. He smiled faintly. For the first time, she saw happiness and hope in his eyes, like a secret flame he'd been guarding. When Alina collapsed one afternoon, Daniel rushed her to the hospital. The staff laughed and avoided him because of his clothes, ignoring him until he raised his voice with authority that startled them. "Get the doctor. Now." They obeyed instantly, confused by his tone. As Alina lay in bed, weak but safe, she couldn't stop replaying the moment. The way people who mocked him seconds ago suddenly scrambled at his command. "Who was that man?" the staffs asked. The hospital released Alina after a few days of monitoring, but her mind was restless. Daniel's every action only deepened the mystery. The way he carried himself, the words he used, even the respect he unintentionally commanded, they didn't match the life of a homeless man. One rainy night, as thunder cracked across the sky, Alina confronted him. "I need the truth." "Who are you, Daniel?" He looked at her silently for a long moment, then sighed. "Not tonight. But soon. Trust me." Her anger got worse and she said, "Trust you? My stepmother threw me away, the world laughs at me, and you're hiding something." Tears streamed down her face. "Why won't you just tell me?" Daniel's jaw tightened, but he simply pulled her close. "Because timing matters. You'll see." The following week, while walking back from work, a group of young men cornered Alina in a narrow alley. "Well, if it isn't the girl with the beggar husband," one sneered. "How much to spend the night, sweetheart?" Fear froze her, but before she could scream, Daniel appeared. In seconds, the man who looked too gentle to hurt a fly moved with frightening precision. He disarmed one, knocked another against the wall, and had the leader pinned to the ground before anyone could blink. "Touch her again," Daniel growled, his voice low and commanding, "and you'll regret it." The men ran off in terror. Alina stood in shock. This wasn't just a homeless man. He moved like someone trained, someone powerful. Later that night, Alina couldn't contain herself. "Where did you learn to fight like that?" Daniel's eyes softened. "There's more to me than you know. I wasn't always like this." She pressed further, but he only said, "When the time comes, you'll understand why I chose this life." Her heart raced. Why would a man choose to live homeless if he wasn't forced? Unless he was hiding. One afternoon, a sleek black car pulled up beside them. A suited man stepped out and bowed slightly. "Sir," he said to Daniel, ignoring Alina completely. "It's urgent. The board needs you back." Alina froze. "Board?" Daniel raised a hand. "Not now." The man bowed again, getting back into the car. Alina looked at him, curious. What board was he talking about? Daniel only whispered, "Patience." Her frustration grew, but her curiosity burned hotter than ever. Alina's patience finally shattered when her stepmother reappeared. Mrs. Ola spotted them at a supermarket and mocked them loudly for everyone to hear. "Still living with trash, Alina? What a shame. Your father would weep if he saw you now." Tears rolled down from Alina's eyes. Before she could reply, Daniel stepped forward. His voice carried a lot of weight like never before. "You should be ashamed," he told Mrs. Ola. "You threw away gold because it was covered in dust." The shoppers went silent. Mrs. Ola scoffed, but something in his tone shook her. She quickly turned away, surprised. Alina stared at him. "What did you mean by that?" Daniel smiled faintly. "You'll find out soon enough." The truth unraveled 2 weeks later. Daniel took Alina to a towering glass building in the city. She hesitated at the entrance. "Why are we here?" "Because it's time," Daniel said. Inside, security guards straightened immediately at his presence. Employees whispered as they passed. Alina's confusion deepened until they reached the top floor. The doors opened to a massive boardroom. Executives stood, bowing their heads. "Welcome back, Mr. Daniels," one said respectfully. Alina's knees nearly buckled. "Daniel, a billionaire?" Alina turned to him, trembling. You're not homeless?" Daniel nodded. "I walked away from this life for a reason. I was tired of people who loved me only for my money. I wanted to find someone who could see me, not my wealth." Her heart pounded. Every memory, the worn-out clothes, the nights of hunger, his patience, it all made sense. "I didn't lie to hurt you, Alina. I just needed to know you first." Tears filled her eyes. "And now?" "Now," he said softly, "you're my wife. And the world will know it." Daniel brought Alina back to his mansion, a place she never dreamed of stepping foot in. Servants bowed, luxurious chandeliers sparkled, and Alina felt like an imposter. "I don't belong here," she whispered. Daniel held her hand. "You belong wherever I am. And this is your home now." Her heart raced with joy. For the first time in her life, she felt wanted. News spread quickly. Mrs. Ola nearly fainted when she saw Alina on television beside Daniel, introduced as his wife. She's married to him?" she gasped. "A billionaire?" Her friends, who once sneered, now mocked her. "You gave her away like trash. Now she's richer than you'll ever be." Humiliated, Mrs. Ola tried to reconcile, showing up at the mansion. But Alina met her at the door. You threw me away when I needed you most, Alina said firmly. I have no stepmother. Mrs. Ola's face crumpled, but Alina turned and closed the door, choosing peace over pain. Months later, Alina gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Daniel held her hand in the hospital, his eyes filled with joy. You've given me more than I ever dreamed of, he whispered. Alina smiled through tears. No. You gave me love when I thought I had nothing left. Their journey, from shame to love, from despair to wealth, was a testament to resilience. For the first time, Alina believed in miracles. Because sometimes, the person the world calls worthless is hiding a crown the world cannot see. If you love my folktale story, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and don't forget to turn on the notification button to get notified for more interesting folktale stories. Thanks for watching, love you.